This is Ella Starr with the Key Races and Bets podcast for Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This Key Races and Bets podcast is brought to you by Amwager.com, AMWAGR. Amwager.com is a legal online wagering website with great betting tools and perks. Amwager.com is legal for residents of most states, covers most tracks in North America as well as many around the world. Check it out, Amwager.com. You can also get the written version of this podcast, the Key Races and Bets blog, free at Amwager.com. Click on How to Bet and Ella Starr's blog. But if you're not a member, while you're there, sign up. You'll be happy you did. We're going to start with the Fountain Youth Stakes, race 13 at Gulfstream Park at 5:42 Eastern on Saturday, March 1st. The win contenders are Sovereignty and Burnham Square. The biggest of this weekend's Derby preps is the Fountain Youth Stakes, and it provides an opportunity to use my handicapping process, which is a process of elimination in this case. Some horses, having one reason or another, they have less probability to succeed, particularly when compared against the two horses I think are the two main win contenders, which are Sovereignty and Burnham Square. So we'll go through that process as quickly as I can. The first of those is River Thames, who I think will be the lowest odds of the group of non-contenders based on his two wins by a total of more than 10 lengths and the fact he's trained by Todd Fletcher and was visually impressive. The first of the two wins at 6 furlongs earned the Colt a very strong 105 Echo-based speed figure. However, when stretched out to a mile, although winning by 6.5 lengths, he didn't run as fast, earning only an 84 figure. It might be said he was so far in front that he was geared down, but that type of regression is concerning, particularly as he's stretching out by a 16th of a mile and being asked to run two turns for the first time. Based on his pedigree, I think that could be an issue as well, as using a race lens query reveals sons and daughters of McLean's Music have done well in stakes, mostly up to and including a mile. The Dam of River Thames was a sprinter, and it's another reason I'm taking a stand against the potential favorite. Similar to River Thames, there are concerns with Keep It Easy, who had won the Ed Brown Stakes when last seen the end of November, earned a 94 figure in that effort, and although his sire, Hardspun, finished second in the 2007 Kentucky Derby, of late, not many of Hardspun's sons and daughters have won a race at this level and distance. However, it must be noted that Hardspun's son, Two Phils, finished second in the 2023 Kentucky Derby and won the Ohio Derby, and his son, Built, finished third earlier this year in the Risen Star Stakes. But due to my concerns about the pedigree, I'll take a wait-and-see attitude about how Keep It Easy performs at the distance and endorsing him. Similarly, Gate to Wire won the Swale Stakes last month by 5 lengths with his 94 Echo-based speed figure, but the Swale at 7 furlongs has not been an effective prep for winning the Fountain Youth. The 2024 Swale winner finished third in this race, and the 2021 winner was second. Then there's Neocos, whose best figure of 91 was earned when second in the Florida Sire of Firm Stakes last October. Similar to River Thames, he's out of a mare who is a sprinter. Her other foals are sprinters as well. From the outside post, Neocos will have to use a lot of speed to get to the rail in the lead where he likes to be. That makes him susceptible to being passed late. McKellen ran pretty well in the first two starts of his career, particularly when second at a mile in November with a 90 figure. That race was won by Disco Time, by the way, who won the Lecomte Stakes on the road to the Derby in January. But still, I have concerns. The last of the group is Solid Left, who won at the distance of the race over the track January 26th with an 80 figure. That requires too much improvement to get to about the 100 figure needed to win this race. So now I'm down to Sovereignty and Burnham Square. They possessed the bulk of the probability to win. Sovereignty improved in all three races as a 2-year-old from 87 Echo-based figure to 96. That race was the Street Sense, where Sovereignty started an eye-catching rally with a quarter mile to go 6 wide, went from 9th to 2nd with an eighth of a mile to run, and then he drew off by 5. I have no concern about the layoff, a little more than 3 months, given he's in the Hall of Fame barn of Belmont, and Mott has a very good affinity with horses coming back off layoffs. And considering how much a horse can grow up physically from their 2-year-old season to their 3-year-old season, I think Sovereignty is going to improve markedly, and I think he's the one to beat. That being said, Burnham Square has an advantage of a more recent race compared to Sovereignty, as he won the Holy Bull last month over the track. Like Sovereignty, Burnham Square is on an improving pattern of Echo-based speed figures, having earned an 86 in his first two-turn race in November, then 92, and then 95 in the Holy Bull. Blinkers added for his second start and made all the difference in the world, and I could see him taking another step forward off the last effort and have a nice battle with Sovereignty. So in the Fountain of Youth, race 13 at Gulfstream, 5:42 Eastern, I'm going to consider win bets on Sovereignty and Burnham Square at odds of 9 to 5 or higher. I'll probably bet the one that's the highest odds, but I might consider both if they're 3 to 1 or more. Got some great doubles coming up here between the Fountain of Youth and race 14, which I'll talk about in a second. In race 13, I want to play Sovereignty and Burnham Square. And in race 14, Cash Equity, Sugoi, Grand Sonata, and Dashman. I think that's a very good double to make some money. Race 14 is the Mac Diarmida Stakes at Gulfstream, 6:12 Eastern on Saturday, March 1st. As I mentioned, the win contenders are Grand Sonata, Sugoi, Dashman, and Cash Equity. And I'm a big subscriber to the theory that horses that have run well at marathon distances of 1 mile and 3/8 and up, particularly if these come in stakes races, are the most important when handicapping these races. With that in mind, the contender list quickly boils down to the 4 contenders I just mentioned. Grand Sonata has been running against the toughest competition of the quartet, with only grade 1 or 2 races among his last 6 races. He won one of those, the Turf Cup at Kentucky Down in September, missed by a nose in another, the United Nations, in July. And among some of the best in the country, a little over a month ago, in the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational, Grand Sonata was beaten 4 lengths in a field of 12. He doesn't necessarily love to win, evidenced by 5 wins and 6 runner-up efforts in 26 starts, but 2 of his 4 turf wins have come at Gulfstream. And the key reason Grand Sonata gets slight preference among the 4 horses I think can win this race is the fact that Red Ortiz Jr. rides for the very first time, even though the horse has run 26 times and the horse has been trained by Todd Pletcher for his entire career. Ortiz rode Grand Cash Equity to a nose defeat in the nearly identical William McKnight Stakes 5 weeks ago. And the fact that Ortiz and his agent choose Grand Sonata here, plus the fact the horse is the only one dropping in class from grade 1 to grade 2, suggests he can run back to his grade 2 Turf Cup win last summer, which also came off a drop from grade 1 to grade 2. Sugoi won the grade 3 Louisville Stakes last May at 19 to 1, one race after being claimed by $50,000 for Mike Maker. Maker's just so good at this, getting horses to run in marathons, spotting them in other races and purchasing them or claiming them. Nearly leading from start to finish in his first try at a marathon distance, Sugoi followed it up with a game runner-up in a similar race and was overmatched in the Grid 1 Arlington Million, also shortened up to 1.25 miles, probably not his best distance anymore. He finished 5th and 2nd after that. When returned to a marathon on January 25th, the same day as the McKnight and the Pegasus, but in Texas, Sugoi won the John B. Connolly Stakes after battling head-and-head for the lead for the entire last half a mile. Sugoi's making his second start from 2 months off, has won 11 of 32, second in 8 others, and has run 8 races back-to-back, so he's a strong contender. Dashman and Cash Equity finished 1st and 2nd respectively when a nose apart in the McKnight 5 weeks ago on the course. Both ran the best races of their career that day and ran well and can run well again, but are moving up in class from grade 3 to grade 2. Dashman has never run at the level, but has lightly raced only 8 times and improving, and he's making his second start off a 2-month layoff. Cash Equity didn't run well in his last 2 tries above grade 3, but neither were at marathons. The McKnight was his first try ever farther than 9 furlongs, and he proved he can run well at the distance. But it'll also be noted that, as I mentioned earlier, Ortiz Jr. moves to Grand Sonata, although Zayas is a fine rider. And although second 5 times in 11 races going back to January 1st, 2024, Cash Equity has not won in 14 months. In the Mac Diarmida Stakes, race 14 at Gulfstream, 6:12 Eastern, Saturday, March 1st, we'll start by considering Grand Sonata and Sugoi for win bets at 5-2 or more. With it possible that both horses may be above minimum odds, this presents a great opportunity to make a profit by Dutching the win bets, meaning prorating the wagers for the best edge. And at AmWager.com, there's a great tool, Dutching tool, where all you have to do is enter the amount you want to win and click on 2 horses or more, and all the math is done for you. And that's one of some pretty good tools and perks at AmWager.com. After Grand Sonata and Sugoi, we can consider Dashman and Cash Equity at 7-2 or more, and I would not hesitate betting 2 horses, or maybe 3 in this race if the odds are right. And for the exact and trifecta, I just want to play a 4-horse box. I think these 4 stand out. That's going to be Grand Sonata, Sugoi, Dash Equity, and Cashman. Moving on to a really good race in Southern California, the 3rd race for this key races and bets for March 1st. This is the Santa Anita Handicap. It's race 10 at Santa Anita. It's 4:47 Pacific, so 7:47 Eastern. But it's a really good race. The win contenders are Katona and Express Train. This year's Big Cap drew a field of 9 with 2 trained by Bob Baffert. I think those are going to take money. Miramati and New King. I think both are suspect for reasons I'll talk about in a second, which makes the race very playable on the contenders Katona and Express Train. If the race goes as drawn with the 9, especially the horse I'm going to talk about now, it appears that Miramati will be sent to the front as both his career wins have been earned leading start to finish, and even in a few of his defeats, he's gone to the front. In races where he stalked and tried to pass, he couldn't do it. And his record of 2 wins, 4 seconds, and 2/3 of 11 races, and the fact his only race further than mile 16th was a poor 6th place finish. Considering Miramati and New King have the same ownership, I think Miramati's in the race as a rabbit to ensure a pace for New King to run into. However, rabbits don't always help the horse they're designed to, and in this case, Tarantino from the extreme outside will also try for the lead from the start, perhaps at any cost, and get into a battle with Miramati. All 4 of Tarantino's last races have been run where he's been on the lead or within a half length of the lead early. And jockey Edwin Maldonado is one of the best gate jockeys in North America today. He's going to send Tarantino from the moment the gates open. Add JB Strikes to the mix. He's won 3 in a row, including the Grade 2 Lafitte Pinkai Stakes on December 26th. He's been on the leader within a half a length in all 3 of those races. Then there's Midnight Mammoth, who led from start to finish in 2 of 3 wins last summer, including the Grade 3 Cougar. He was beaten 34 lengths combined in his last 2 starts on the comeback, but he went for the lead in both, including the San Pasquale last month, where he zipped through an opening half in 45.8 and 6 furlongs of 110.6. I think there's going to be a pace meltdown here, and the San Pasquale is a perfect example of what's going to happen again in the Santa Anita Handicap, because if only 2 of the 4 need the lead types go to the front, they're going to have the same result, which was Katona rallying brilliantly from 7th to 4th to win going away, and Express Train rallying from 4th to make the lead, then being outfinished by Katona and holding 2nd as Tarantino tired. Katona earned the highest last race Equibase speed figure in the field of 115 and has run even faster, 105, and it's run even faster when 2nd in the San Diego last July with a 114. Express Train was 2nd in this race, Santa Anita Handicap, in 2021 and won this race in 2022. And in both efforts, he came off wins in the San Pasquale, which is a key prep race and should be again. So, probably of this group of 3 races today, and I like them all, this is the one I look forward to betting the most. I think the value is going to be there because Baffert horses are going to be overbet. So in the Santa Anita Handicap, race 10 on March 1st, 7:47 Eastern, 4:47 Pacific, I'm going to bet Katona at 2-1 or more, and I'm going to bet Express Train at 3-1 or more. And if both are above those odds, I'm going to use the Dutching tool and hopefully crush this race. Don't forget, you can get the written version of this Key Races and Bets podcast, which is the Key Races and Bets blog, and it's free at amwager.com, AMWAGER. Click on How to Bet in All Stars blog. While you're there, if you're not a member, look around. It's legal for residents of 38 states. Covers races around the country and the world. You'll be happy you signed up. I know I'll be there all weekend betting on these races. I hope you will as well. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.